What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. We begin with the latest on Typhoon Haikui, which has raked across the south of the country, injuring 44 people and leaving 250,000 households without power. Almost 4,000 people have been evacuated from areas around the central mountains because of the risk of landslides. Over in the northeast, Yilan saw over 30 centimeters of rain fall in 24 hours. 2 people have been taken to hospital in Hualien after their truck was crushed by a falling tree. Inland, in the mountains of Nantou, landslides have hampered emergency services from accessing some areas. 3 villages there have been evacuated. Over in Taidong, flooding and high winds have blocked several main roads. 17 people have been injured, mostly from falling trees and debris. In a moment, we'll be taking you to Kaohsiung, where our reporter Sally Jensen is on the ground. But first, John Van Trieste brings us the latest on the storm.
A thick river of mud and rocks flows down the mountainside, completely burying the road in muck. Landslides have left 8 kilometers of this road in Taiwan's central Nantou County, the main link for nearby villages, totally impassable. It's just part of the damage left by Typhoon Haikui, which passed over Taiwan Sunday.
海葵台风的外围下雨的影响目前又有严重的一个崩塌现象已经公告说今天就是道路全天候的个封闭。
Taiwan Center is only ever one big storm away from major rockfalls and landslides. The area was still recovering from the impact of Typhoon Doksuri just over a month ago. Officials have evacuated people from some mountainous areas due to the danger posed by landslides.
那我们针对这几年的统计资料跟影响的这个程度来做判断，那这3个村是有立即撤离的这个必要性。
And Nantou County is just one place where these evacuations have happened. They can be seen between Pingdong in the far south and Yilan in the northeast, where these rescuers helped older residents to safety. Much of the country has seen hundreds of millimeters of rain in a short time, and more is on the way, making it uncertain when the nearly 4,000 evacuees will get the all clear to go back home. Joseph Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Now, Sally Jensen is in Taiwan's southern city of Kaohsiung, where residents are cleaning up debris left by the typhoon.
People here in Taiwan's southern port city of Kaohsiung are cleaning up after Typhoon Haikui swept through, causing extensive damage. The eye of the storm is still about 100 kilometers away from the country's 3rd biggest city, home to 2.7 million people, and it's moving slowly, meaning people here are in for a day of unpredictable winds and rain. Torrential downpours lashed the city overnight, causing power outages to thousands of homes. And people woke up to hundreds of uprooted trees in the streets and some flooding. And schools and workplaces are closed here, and much of the city's public transport is not running. As you can see, cleanup has already begun. And Haikui is gradually expected to move away from the country's west coast towards southeast China. But until then, people here in Kaohsiung are doing what they can to prevent more damage. Justin Wu and Sally Jensen in Kaohsiung City for TaiwanPlus.
The number of dengue fever cases topped 4,000 over the weekend. The Centers for Disease Control reported nearly 200 new cases on a Sunday. The majority of those were in the southern city of Tainan. No new deaths were recorded. This is the most severe outbreak of dengue fever in the country since 2015. Officials also fear that Typhoon Haikui, the first tropical storm to make landfall in 4 years, could worsen the situation as heavy rainfall creates conditions for dengue-carrying mosquitoes to breed. Labor rights activists in Taiwan are renewing calls to scrap the brokerage system for Taiwan's migrant workers. Rick Lau reports.
At a protest outside the Labour Ministry, migrant workers and labour rights activists throw salt, a traditional way to vanquish evil in Taiwan, at people dressed as cows. They represent the employment brokers that migrant workers must go through to find work.
These broker systems are the bloodsucker to us migrant workers who always ask from money, our salary. They always deduct our salary for their services, but their services are very bad.
There are more than 700,000 migrant workers in Taiwan. They're essential to the economy, doing jobs in healthcare, the fishing industry and in factories. Most are from Southeast Asia, and they work for lower salaries and under worse conditions than the rest of the working population. They are also at the mercy of government-certified brokers to live and work here. Activists here outside Taiwan's Ministry of Labour are demanding the country does away with its brokerage system for migrant workers. They say the excessive fees eat into migrant workers' salary and that the system leaves them vulnerable to exploitation. Brokers charge migrant workers to find them jobs, organise their visas and other documents, and to change employers. The Ministry of Labour says it is trying to improve the system and allow companies in Taiwan to directly hire migrant workers. But it says employers prefer to use brokers to screen applicants and handle paperwork. Activists say the system is unfair, as white-collar foreign workers do not face the same requirements.
But in Taiwan, the policy itself discriminated very badly against the blue-collar migrant workers. They are not served the workers to offer them a safe working condition, safe cross-border process. They are just trying to allow them to be exploited by the profit-oriented broker system. Yeah.
Facing declining birth rates and an aging population, Taiwan is trying to keep its migrant workforce. Visa rules have recently been changed, making it easier for foreign workers to stay in the country. But activists here say that ultimately, the exploitative brokerage system must go if it wants to keep attracting people to work in Taiwan. Kaohsiung and Rick Lowett for TaiwanPlus.
A new report from Japanese media outlet NHK says that Taiwanese soldiers trained alongside U.S. troops in August. Although few details were shared, it sheds some light on the military relationship between the two countries. Jaime O'Connor reports.
U.S. troops training in artillery fire drills in the state of Michigan. Over 7,000 soldiers took part in these drills, which wrapped up last month. But among the U.S. soldiers were Taiwanese troops. That's according to Japanese media outlet NHK. But it's still unclear what training the soldiers received or how many there were. But analysts say that it could give Taiwan's military the ability to use U.S. facilities and training grounds.
在这个密西根的这个联合演训，主要是因为场地够大，所以国军参与的人员都可以有完整的步炮装，甚至是网络通讯、电子安全的这种演练。这一点可能在台湾是比较难施行的。
The U.S. is Taiwan's largest provider of weapons and military equipment. There are roughly 200 U.S. military advisors stationed here. But because of Taiwan's political status, the two countries do not participate in official joint military exercises. China claims Taiwan as its territory and has ramped up its rhetoric on invading the country while boosting its military presence across Asia. Taiwan's foreign ministers warned other countries in the region that China's aggression won't stop here.
If we don't stop authoritarian China before it does anything to Taiwan, it will be ready to dominate the East and South China Seas and endanger Japan, the Philippines, and beyond.
Taiwan has been boosting its military training with a focus on building up coastal defenses to fend off amphibious attacks. Analysts say that the country can also connect with other militaries in an unofficial capacity to improve the training of the local defense forces.
Now, this is a really important reality to start creating this connectivity with that softer tissue that over time would allow to better identify which exercises or activities the Taiwanese might be interested in sort of having a possibility to participate, whether it's observers or sending specialists. These kind of steps.
Taiwan hopes that it can work more with the world's largest superpower to enhance its security, with the overall aim of preventing a conflict from breaking out close to home. Andy Shui and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. President Joe Biden says he is disappointed Chinese leader Xi Jinping will not attend the G20 summit in India this week. Here's what he told reporters on Sunday.
I am disappointed, but I'm going to get to see him. Thank you.
Biden did not say more about when or where he would see China's president. The G20 summit is set to kick off on Saturday in New Delhi. Aside from Xi's absence, Russia has confirmed that its leader, Vladimir Putin, will not attend either, sending Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov instead. Putin has not left Russia since the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for him in March. Taiwan is known worldwide for its religious freedom, and just recently, the owner of an Indian restaurant in Taipei opened one of the few Hindu temples in the capital. Shrivan Pal reports.
Taiwanese choreographer Huang Meiyu is performing rituals dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva. Huang is a long-time devotee of this god of the Holy Trinity of Hinduism: Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer and judge. But now she can offer her prayers at a recently opened Hindu temple in the heart of Taiwan's capital, Taipei.
Actually, I feel so happy because, usually we can see the Shivling and this kind of the temple only in India. This is the first one, the traditional Shiva temple in Taiwan.
Not only Lord Shiva, this temple called Sabka Mandir, meaning everyone's temple, houses a number of different Hindu gods as well as their consorts and symbols. This holy site is the passion project of Andy Singh Arya. The Indian national came to Taiwan as a student nearly 2 decades ago, but he always dreamed of starting a Hindu temple here.
Throughout these years, Andy Singh has opened several Indian restaurants in and around Taipei, but he also devoted his spare time to building this temple brick by brick.
When I came here first time, that time I stayed in the Buddhist temple, and that's why kind of my heart was so clean up that time, like to have a temple, Hindu temple in Taiwan.
The ambitious food and beverage entrepreneur had the full support of his Taiwanese wife, Nina Lee.
I know many Indians, they are very religious, so I support okay, if we have a right place or right time, then just do it.
Religious freedom is built into the constitution of Taiwan's government, but religion can also lead to superstition and disagreements. Some of Andy's neighbors believe it's bad luck to have a temple in their building, while a few others feel it may decrease the property value.
I started to have some trouble through my landlord. Landlord is a very kind person, but he's getting some trouble from the management of this building to close this temple.
Despite having the support of local devotees, the temple still faces an uncertain future. But Andy believes in his God and is praying to keep his spiritual venture alive. Isan Chen and Shumpal for TaiwanPlus.
A local sculptor has unearthed a way to make his art more sustainable by sourcing his materials from nearby reservoirs. Jeremy Olivier has more.
Taiwanese artist Lai Tangya sits down to work at his studio in Miaoli County in northern Taiwan. It's just another day for Lai, who's been making pottery and sculptures for decades. But what stands out about his pieces is what they're made from. Rather than shell out for expensive clay, Lai gets his materials for free from Shimen Reservoir, which is about an hour's drive from his home. With a shovel and bucket, he gathers the sticky mud-like silt that collects at the bottom of the water.
看到了水库的淤泥，就会觉得怎么会产生那么多？在那个因缘下，刚好就提一个案子，说淤泥从低温到高温都可使用。
Lai says using silt not only cuts down on his overhead, it's also a more sustainable way of creating art. That ethic is reflected in Lai's works, which resemble elements of the surrounding environment.
希望说我的创作的东西是跟环境是比较可以共融。
And there's plenty of the muck to take from. Statistics show that in 2022, Shimen Reservoir had around 4.4 million cubic meters of silt, enough to fill over 4,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. That's a gold mine for sculpting enthusiasts. Together with his wife, Kaohsiung Yu, Lai has converted his traditional courtyard house in the countryside into a home museum. While he displays his artwork, she sells vinegar drinks made from native plants from their garden. Like her husband, Gao is also dedicated to her craft.
一开始我们酿醋的时候，当然是想说这醋是酿给自己家人喝嘛，所以一定要用好的材料。
Having carved out a simple life here in the mountains, Lai and Gao hope to offer the world the unique feeling and flavor of rural Miaoli, made with the earth in mind. Chris Ma and Jeremy Olivier for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Eric Gao. Take care and see you next time.